So I built my portfolio up. It's worth now over 5 million. I get a lot of passive income from that, which means that I can work if I want or don't need to work.
Yeah. How about if I told you that inflation's actually good for house prices? Would you believe me? The average house is going to be 900,000. Well, that's 3 times where we are now. Do any of your friends say, oh, interest rates are so high, mortgage interest rates are killing me? Do anyone say that?
Yes.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Money Matters, because as you know, I deeply believe that money does in fact matter, not for its own sake, but for the choices that it gives. And I'm joined by my very special guest, my very good friend, Abi.
Hi.
Hello, Abi. How can the average home make you a millionaire in just 7 years? So, Abi, I know relatively recently, 6-7 years ago, you weren't a big fan of property, were you?
No.
Or companies?
No.
Or investing?
No.
Or in fact doing anything else other than working for a living, as in somebody pays you money?
Correct.
What was the single thing that changed your mind? Or is there a single thing that changed your mind?
I think meeting you, Anna Cohen Touchstone, and understanding that the system tells you a lot of lies over your life, doesn't it? And that working a 9-to-5 job, paying off your mortgage, paying into your pension is not going to give you the life that you deserve.
Probably not, sadly. And, I personally, if you're working because you love working, that's great. But TUC did a survey that said 85% of people hate their job.
No.
So I'd far rather get somebody or help somebody become wealthy,
Yeah.
they've got money, and then if they want to choose to carry on working, doing whatever they want, but maybe you could let us know that down below. If money was no object, would you still do the job that you do? So here is an average home. I mean, this is average home in average town.
Yeah.
For the sake of argument, let's say an area we both know very well, Doncaster.
Yes.
Could you get a reasonable 3-bed detached with a garage in Doncaster for 300k?
Yeah.
You could.
Yes, you can.
We don't need to look very far to see doom, gloom, the world's going to end on Thursday, do we?
No.
Without going into specifics at all, the government, all the economists, everyone say, recession, inflation, whatever. So what's the answer to that in a very broad sense? For me, I would say extra income. How do you think a typical average person thinks they can earn some extra income? Because it's not buying houses, is it? What sort of stuff?
No, they'll be looking at doing it overtime for their current, employer, maybe taking on a second job, these
Some
types
sort
of things.
Side hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. The average salary is £35,000 a year. So if you make an extra 5-6 grand, I guess it's nice extra money. But again, you're not going to retire on it, are you?
No, you're not.
But it could be quite a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
So for us, the solution is simple. It's property, isn't it?
Yes.
Some people say to me, oh yes, but property is far too hard work. I'd far rather just do stocks and shares. Well, this chart's quite interesting. If you went back to 2015, and let's say you put £100,000 in to the FTSE, to the biggest UK stock index, then it would have gone up.
Yeah.
And the £100,000 would have been now worth about 140. If you include inflation, you probably didn't make very much. And you can see it's quite spiky.
Choppy, yeah.
It goes up and down a lot. The blue line, however,
Yeah.
is just investment property. If you put the same £100,000 in 2015, by 2022, it's about 175, 180. So the extra money, it's not quite double, but it's probably 60, 70%, something like that. And for anyone that's watching this and says, well, yeah, I do invest in property, but I live in it. So the other way to look at it is the orange line here, put £100,000 in 2015, or in fact, that's more like 180, it'd be worth about 260, something like that. So that's good.
Yeah.
But if, on the other hand, you've got a buy-to-let as opposed to just a thing that you live in, then obviously because you've got the rent and all that good stuff, it's a hell of a lot more, isn't it?
So that's the house going up in value plus the rent it's giving you.
Mm-hmm. Capital appreciation in both cases. The main difference on the second one is you've just got, exactly as you say, you've just got income of some kind. And if we take a longer term perspective over the last 20 odd years, the average house price back in the year 2001 was around about 100k. And now we're at close to 300k. So over the last 20 years, properties have tripled. But none of that really helps you to understand how you can suddenly become a millionaire in 7 years, does it?
No, it doesn't.
But I just wanted to give that as background. Do any of your friends say, oh, interest rates are so high, mortgage interest rates are killing me? Do anyone say that?
Yes, or they use it as an excuse. I can't move house because interest rates are too high.
Yeah, so I've been a property investor since 1982. So the Financial Times published this recently. It goes back to 1980. And for the first 12 years of my property investment career, I didn't have a mortgage that wasn't double digit. So imagine today, I mean, how would you feel, even you, with your experience, would you be cool with a 12, 13% mortgage?
Well, not like it.
But if you look back over the last 12 years,
Yeah.
you can see it was virtually zero.
Yeah.
And people for a decade or
Yeah.
more have got used to paying no
Yeah.
interest at all. And now we've shot up to 3.5%. Well, I'm kind of, yeah, and your point is, caller.
Same, yeah.
So the average interest
Yeah.
for the last 100 years is about 7.5%.
Yeah.
So we're still half the historical average. Shelter and KPMG got together and did a report in 2014, and we're scarily close to this line. And they said that by 2034, sounds quite close now. It's only 11 years.
Does, yeah.
It's only 11 years away. The average house is going to be 900,000. Well, that's 3 times where we are now. So this is all good if you're looking to invest in property. Our friend here, Hugh Pill from the Bank of England, is saying, ooh, persistently high inflation. So do you think most people would say inflation is good for house prices or bad for house prices?
I think most people just think inflation is bad across the board, bad for everything.
Full stop.
Yeah.
How about if I told you that inflation's actually good for house prices? Would you believe me?
Yes.
Would you like a chart?
Yes.
All right.
Show me.
This is a fascinating one, and this comes from the Nationwide Building Society,
Yeah.
Office for National Statistics, so the government,
Yeah.
and the Bank of England. And look at this orange line. So this is inflation. So it goes all the way back to 1956, so
Wow.
nearly 70 years.
Yeah.
And the orange line, that's inflation.
Yeah.
The blue line is house prices.
Wow.
So you can see whenever the inflation spikes, the house prices spike.
Yeah.
So perversely, the higher the rate of inflation,
Yeah.
the better for houses. And you might be thinking, well, why is that out there in internet land? Well, the price of bricks, the price of windows, and the price of roof tiles, and the price of land and labour goes up. What's going to happen to the price of a house?
Go up.
It's going to go up. It's not rocket science, is
No,
it?
it isn't.
But I love that chart. That is a brilliant chart. People say to me, "Oh, but Paul, is this year a good time to invest? What if property prices crash?" Every year I get that. Absolutely every year. What's your ideal time horizon in terms of holding a property as a property investor?
For a long, long time.
Decades.
Decades.
Right. So first one I ever bought, 269A Roman Road, bought it for £9,000.
Wow. £9,000.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even a credit card bill now.
No,
is it?
it's not.
You couldn't, I mean, you could buy a car for that, but you couldn't buy a new car for that.
No, you couldn't.
So,
Wow.
bought it for £9,000. It's now worth 400,000. So,
Yeah.
is inflation good or bad? No, it's great. What does it do?
Yes.
Puts up the value of the property, puts up the rent, and it destroys the value of the mortgage. Even think about your most pessimistic, miserable, don't want to invest in property friend. Have you got one of those?
Yes.
Yes. Do you think they would be worried about having a £7,000 mortgage on a £400,000 house?
No, they would not.
So even the most miserable, grumpy, it's all going to end in tears one would be okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a 40-year hold. This one, I used to live in a place called Bushy. So this is a property called Oaklands.
Yeah.
And I bought it in the mid-90s when, believe it or not, it was double-digit mortgages again.
Interest rates?
So I bought it for 465.
Yeah.
And I sold it when I moved to Scotland in the year 2000 for 785. So roughly bought it for 450, sold it for 800.
Yeah.
And according to Zoopla, it's worth 2 million.
Wow.
So as long as you're holding the property for a long time,
Yeah.
you're absolutely fine. So don't care if it goes down 2% next year. Who cares?
Yeah.
If you want to be wealthy, if you genuinely want to be wealthy, what's your next step? Well, here is my suggestion. You take an average house in average town, and I don't know whether you know this or not, but in 2017 it flipped. So roughly 70% of the UK's population owns their own home.
Yeah.
Perhaps with a mortgage, perhaps not, and 30% rent, roughly. But what happened in 2017 for the first time is of the homeowners, the majority had paid off their mortgage.
Wow.
So from that 70%, 37% have paid off their mortgage,
Yeah.
33% haven't.
Yeah.
So the average home doesn't have a mortgage on it.
Yeah.
Because just think about that. Most people don't know that. Therefore, most people that live in a home could could put a mortgage on and take some money out, couldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So, if the value of the average home is 300k,
Yeah.
could you unlock that lazy cash sat there doing nothing in your average home? And would it be fairly simple to pull out 200k?
Yeah. Very easy.
Did you know that if you've got a £200,000 mortgage on your own home, it can be interest only?
Oh, can it? No, I didn't know.
Most people don't. Well, it can.
Yeah.
So you could get very cheap money
Yeah.
because it's a residential mortgage,
Yeah.
and you don't even have to have it on repayment. So it could be quite a small
Yeah.
amount of money you're repaying. So let's say you took a 4% mortgage on your own home. 4% of 200,000 is 8 grand.
Yeah.
8 grand divided by 12 months, you're talking about 660.
Yes.
So
Not.
it's not ridiculous.
No.
And I'm not suggesting that you take that 200 grand and you invest it in a Lamborghini. I mean, you could if you want.
That would
but
make you wealthy.
No. It'd be fun for a bit, but it's not going to make you a millionaire.
No.
Now, and if you don't want the aggro of learning how to buy BMW and refurbishing,
Yes.
and so I'm just suggesting the simplest way I can think of,
Yes.
which is to buy 3 or 4 new build or off-plan properties.
Yeah.
And by definition, if you're putting down 25%, which is your 200,
Yeah.
means your portfolio is going to be worth 800.
Yeah.
And of course, you'd have 600,000 of mortgages. Now,
Yeah.
when I've put brackets, that means negative. Your total equity, your total wealth, when you do this, is 300k. Because all you've done is you've moved 200k out of your home and put it into new properties. Why is that easy? Well, 10-year guarantees, anything breaks, whatever.
Yeah.
You've got to pay £600-700 a month, depending on your mortgage.
Yeah.
But you've now got the profit from 3 buy-to-lets, which, without worrying about it, is going to be more than £600-700.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not out of pocket.
No, you won't
But
be.
that's not really why you're doing it.
No.
Okay? So you've gone from 1 property to 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So you've still got your home, and you've got a few investment properties. Now, the average property price, as we've seen, doubles on average every 7 years.
Yeah.
Has done forever. So if we just do the numbers 7 years from now, so the year 2030, or whenever it is, the value of the average home is going to go from 300 to 600, as per the KPMG survey, plus my 40 years of experience, plus whatever. You've unlocked that lazy cash. It's interest only, so you still owe £200,000.
Yeah.
Your off-plan properties, or your new build properties, have gone from 800,000, they've doubled to 1.6 million.
Wow. Yeah.
You've still got 600,000 of mortgages. So if you take 600 minus 200 is 400.
Yeah.
1.6 minus 600 is a million, obviously.
Yeah.
So you've got 1.4 million.
Wow.
You're now a millionaire.
Plus you've had the rental income every single month for them 7 years.
But how hard was that?
No, very easy.
So all you've done, I mean, I know you're on the record and you say it a lot, that people paying off their mortgage is one of the biggest mistakes you could make. But what about if people have paid off their mortgage? This is going even further and saying, well, potentially, you've already paid your mortgage off, good, well done you. How about you stick a mortgage on it?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, happy days.
All right. So in terms of what's next for your plan or, claiming your dream, what would you suggest to the average person that wants to learn more about it? What practical steps should they take? Because you're quite a recent example of this 3-4 years ago.
Yes, so I built my portfolio up. It's worth now over 5 million. I get a lot of passive income from that, which means that I can work if I want or don't need to work. So I think if you guys are interested in learning more about this, you need to click the link and come and join us for 2 days. We have our 2-day seminar, CPD accredited, called Wealth Through Property, and it basically will take you through everything that you need to consider before you start doing property.
I know you know this, Abby, and potentially other people won't, but what I've described there is super simple, isn't it?
Very, very simple.
And very accessible to millions and millions, or tens of millions of people.
Yeah.
If people attend, or when people attend Wealth Through Property, are they going to be able to do better than that? Are they going to be able to do better than having 1.4 million in 7 years' time?
Yeah, much better on the wealth that you're going to create in 7 years' time, plus the income from property.
So it doesn't have to take 7 years.
No.
If you're super conservative, you only want new properties, and you're prepared to wait 7 years, do it this way.
Absolutely.
Or come and join us on Wealth Through Property and do it a bit quicker.
Definitely.
All right. So thank you for listening. And as Abby's just told you, I would fully endorse, get yourself along to Wealth Through Property. And I always say this at the end of every video, I believe each and every one of you, the other side of that camera, is a wonderful, unique human being, just like Abi. And all you need to do is give yourself permission to shine, like Abi did 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and look at her now, sat here in Monaco with me, smiling like that. All right, you've been wonderful. We've been Paul and Abi, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.